Friends, if your husband or wife has passed away, or if you are helping an older parent after losing a spouse, there is one Social Security survivor step you do not want to miss. And I want to say this carefully because this is not just paperwork. This usually happens at one of the most painful moments in a person's life. A widow or widower may be dealing with funeral costs, bank accounts, medical bills, insurance papers, utility bills, and a sudden change in monthly income. But here is the problem. Many people assume Social Security will automatically move everything to the best possible survivor benefit. They assume the funeral home reports the death, the bank sees what happened, and then Social Security simply changes the monthly check to the right amount. Sometimes part of the process may happen automatically. For example, if someone was already receiving benefits as a spouse, Social Security may convert that person to survivor benefits. But that still does not mean every question has been answered. It does not mean the $255 lump sum death payment has been requested. It does not mean every timing choice has been reviewed. It does not mean your own retirement benefit has been compared against the survivor benefit. And it does not mean a surviving divorced spouse, a younger widow, or a family caregiver knows what to ask next. That is where families get hurt. Reporting a death is one step. Applying for survivor benefits can be another step. Asking about the one-time death payment is another step. And asking Social Security to compare your options is the step many people never even know to ask. So today, I want to walk you through a plain English widow and widower checklist. This is for surviving spouses, surviving divorced spouses, and adult children helping a parent. The goal is simple. Know what to ask before you call Social Security. Before we get into the checklist, if you are not subscribed yet, subscribe and turn on the bell. Social Security, Medicare, taxes, and senior money rules can be confusing, and most people are never personally walked through every option. I break these topics down in plain English so you can check them before a deadline passes or a costly mistake happens. Now let us go step by step. Step number 1, make sure the death was reported, but do not stop there. This is the first big misunderstanding. A funeral home will often report the death to Social Security. In many cases, that is helpful. It can stop payments that should not continue and update the record. But a death report is not the same thing as a full survivor benefit review. That difference matters. If your spouse is receiving Social Security, their benefit may stop. If you are receiving your own retirement benefit, your amount may need to be reviewed. If you are receiving a spousal benefit, the record may need to be converted. If you were not receiving benefits yet, there may be a timing decision to make. Not simply ask, was the death reported? Ask this instead, I am the surviving spouse. I want to know whether I need to apply for survivor benefits, and I want to compare that benefit with my own retirement benefit. That sentence is much stronger. If you are an adult child helping a parent, write it down for them. Put it next to the phone. Grief makes it hard to remember details. A short question list can keep your parent from ending the call before asking the most important question. Also, be careful with payments that arrive after the death. Social Security generally cannot pay benefits for the month of death and later months, as if the person were still alive. If a deposit arrives and you are not sure whether it is payable, do not rush to spend it. Ask the bank and Social Security what needs to be returned and what may be payable to eligible survivors. This is where families can panic. They may see money enter an account and later be pulled back. That does not always mean someone did something wrong. It may simply mean the payment was not payable to the person who died. Eligible survivors may still have their own benefit rights. That is why the next question matters. Step number 2. Ask whether the survivor benefit could be higher than your own benefit. This is the heart of the issue. Many married couples have 2 Social Security checks coming into the household. One spouse may have had a higher lifetime earnings record. The other spouse may have had a smaller benefit, claimed earlier, worked part-time, or spent years out of the workforce caring for children or family. When one spouse dies, the household often loses one check. That can be a major income shock. But the surviving spouse may be eligible for a monthly survivor benefit based on the deceased spouse's work record. The amount can depend on the deceased worker's benefit, the survivor's age, whether the survivor already receives benefits, and other Social Security rules. Here is the part many people misunderstand. Social Security does not simply add both full checks together. If you qualify for survivor benefits and another Social Security benefit, the payments are generally not stacked as 2 full benefits. In plain English, Social Security looks at the benefit you are entitled to and the payment option that applies under the rules. In some cases, you may choose the payment that is best for you. In some cases, you may be able to start one benefit and switch later. That is why the comparison question matters. For example, suppose a widow receives $1,350 a month on her own record, and her late spouse had a larger Social Security benefit. She should not assume her $1,350 is the final answer forever. She should ask whether a survivor benefit based on her spouse's record would produce a higher monthly amount. Now suppose the opposite is true. Her own retirement benefit is already higher than the survivor amount available on the late spouse's record. In that case, switching may not help, but the point is not to guess. The point is to ask Social Security to compare the records. Use this wording: please compare my own retirement benefit with any widow, widower, or survivor benefit I may qualify for on my spouse's record. I want to know which option gives me the best monthly amount under Social Security rules. That is much better than asking, am I okay? Because a vague question can get a vague answer. And remember this, survivor benefits are not only for a spouse who was married at the time of death. A surviving divorced spouse may qualify in some cases if the marriage lasted long enough and other rules are met. Minor children, certain students, dependent parents, and some disabled adult children may also have possible survivor rights. If that sounds like your family, ask Social Security directly. Step number 3, ask about the one-time $255 lump sum death payment. This payment is real, but it is often misunderstood. It is not a large burial benefit. It is not a funeral reimbursement program. It is not a monthly payment, and it is not sent to every family automatically. It is a one-time Social Security death payment of $250, and only a qualifying spouse, or if there is no qualifying spouse, certain children may be eligible. For a surviving spouse, eligibility can depend on facts such as whether the spouse lived in the same household when the person died, or whether the spouse could receive benefits on the deceased person's record. If there is no qualifying spouse, some children may qualify in certain situations, such as minor children, certain students, a child with a qualifying disability that began before a certain age. The deadline is important. The $255 lump sum death payment generally has to be applied for within 2 years of the date of death. That is why families should not put it off. Now keep this in perspective. $255 will not replace a monthly Social Security check. It will not cover a full funeral. It will not solve the financial shock of losing a spouse. But if the surviving family qualifies, it is still money tied to the Social Security record, and it is easy to miss if nobody asks. When you call, say, I also want to ask whether I qualify for the one-time $255 lump sum death payment, what I need to do to apply. Do not assume the funeral home applied for it. Do not assume the bank handled it. Do not assume it comes automatically because the death was reported. Reporting the death and applying for the $255 payment are not the same thing. Step number 4, prepare the survivor folder, the call or appointment. This step can save a lot of time. Before you call Social Security, make a simple folder. On the front, write Social Security Survivor Benefits. Inside, keep proof of death, proof of marriage, the deceased person's Social Security number, your Social Security number, dates of birth, the date of death, recent Social Security letters, bank deposit notes, and any paperwork showing prior marriages if that applies. If you are applying as a surviving divorced spouse, the final divorce decree may matter. If there was military service before 1968, Social Security may ask about that. If earnings from the last year matter, they may ask about W-2 forms or self-employment tax returns. You do not need to memorize every document right now. The point is to be ready for the call and to ask Social Security what is required. And here is the important part. Do not delay the claim just because you do not have every document in your hand. Ask what can be provided later. Ask whether an appointment is needed. Ask whether anything can be handled by phone. Security says survivor benefits cannot be applied for online, so for this issue the phone call or local office contact matters. Also keep a call log. Write down the date of the call, the time, the name of the representative if available, and what they told you to send, upload, bring, or expect next. Keep copies of letters. Keep envelopes if the mailing date matters. Put everything in one place. It may sound basic, but it protects you. After a death, families are often dealing with insurance, utility bills, medical bills, banks, funeral papers, and maybe a change in housing. A survivor folder keeps the Social Security part from becoming scattered across kitchen drawers, text messages, and loose notes. Number 5. Ask about the 3 traps that can change the answer. This is the section that can prevent a lot of confusion because not every widow or widower has the same situation. Trap number 1 is age and early claiming. A surviving spouse may be able to claim survivor benefits as early as age 60 or age 50 if disabled. but claiming early can reduce the monthly amount. A surviving spouse caring for a qualifying child may have different rules. So do not reduce this to one sentence like always claim now or always wait. Instead, ask if I apply now and now what amount would I receive? How would the amount change? Can I start with one benefit and switch to another later? Is there any reason I should file now to avoid losing months of benefits? Trap number 2 is remarriage. This is a major source of confusion. In general, remarriage before age 60 can affect eligibility for widow or widower benefits on a prior deceased spouse's record. For a disabled widow or widower, the age rule can be different. But remarriage after age 60 generally does not prevent entitlement to benefits on the prior deceased spouse's record. That one detail matters. A person who remarried should not automatically assume they are disqualified. They should ask Social Security how the remarriage rule applies to their exact case. Use this wording, I remarried, or I am considering remarriage. How does that affect survivor benefits on my deceased spouse's record? Trap number 3 is old advice about government pensions. For years, many teachers, firefighters, police officers, federal workers, and other public employees heard about BNGPO, the Woman Elimination Provision, and government pension offset. Those rules used to reduce or eliminate certain Social Security benefits for people with pensions from work not covered by Social Security. This is one of those areas where old advice can create real confusion because Social Security's rules have changed under the Social Security Fairness Act. Do not try to apply a headline to your own case. Ask Social Security to review your record directly. Use this wording, I have or my spouse had a government pension from work not covered by Social Security. Check whether WEP, GPO, or the Social Security Fairness Act affects my survivor benefit amount. That phrasing is careful. It does not assume you qualify for more. It does not assume every record has already been corrected. It simply tells Social Security to review the issue under the current rules. If someone tells you you cannot get survivor benefits because of that old pension rule, do not rely on old advice. And if someone tells you everybody gets more now, do not rely on that either. Ask for your own record to be checked. Number 6, protect the surviving spouse from scams and rush decisions. This is especially important after an obituary is published or after family members start calling banks, insurance companies, and agencies. Scammers know grief creates confusion. They call and say, your survivor benefits will be frozen unless you verify your Social Security number right now. They say, pay this fee to unlock the death payment. They may send a fake link pretending to be Social Security. Do not respond to those messages. Do not pay a fee to unlock survivor benefits. Do not give your Social Security number, bank information, Medicare number, or login code to someone who calls out of nowhere. Use the official Social Security number, 1-800-772-213. You can also contact your local Social Security office through the official SSA website. If you are an adult child or caregiver, your job is not to pressure the surviving spouse. Your job is to help them get organized, help them create the folder, help them write the questions, help them call the official number, help them take notes, help them keep letters in one place. And if the surviving spouse cannot manage benefits alone, ask Social Security about the proper process for helping. Do not pretend to be the beneficiary. Do not rely on a random phone number from a text message. Do not give private information to a caller who creates panic. Now let us bring this together quickly. If your spouse has passed away, remember this sentence. Do not just report the death. Ask Social Security to review the survivor benefit options. Before you call, write down these 4 questions. Do I qualify for survivor benefits? Is the survivor benefit higher than my own benefit? Do I qualify for the $255 death payment? What documents do I need to complete the application? Then add 3 more questions if they fit your situation. Does my age change the best time to file? Does remarriage affect my case? Could WEP, GPO, or the Social Security Fairness Act affect my survivor benefit amount? That is enough to make the call much more useful. Keep the notes, keep the letters, keep the folder. Use the official Social Security number or your local office, not a random call or text message or website. And if you know someone who recently lost a spouse, or someone helping an older parent through this process, share this video with them. They may not be ready to think about Social Security yet, but one careful call can prevent confusion, missed benefits, and payment problems later. Subscribe for more plain English Social Security, Medicare tax, and senior money alerts. And share this with a widow, widower, caregiver, adult child, or friend who needs to know what to ask before another month goes by.